Why, hello. I'd like to tell you about my most recent role-playing experience, which also possibly happens to be my favorite. Needs a little bit of a preface first, but we'll get to it eventually. I'm not the type of person that talks about my feelings to my family like you see in TV shows or movies or whatnot. These old families getting together with each other and talking. Never did that. Never occurred to me to do that. But I eventually got closer to my brothers later in life, and so on and so forth. Still don't really do that, but at least now I hang out with them and talk with them. But then not too long ago, I started listening to a podcast called Flagons and Dragons, which is pretty good. And I happened to start listening to when they started posting, right when they started posting their actual play sessions of Gamma World. And they are playing this new edition of Gamma World that, I don't know when it came out, but sometime not too long ago. And so that made me look it up, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the super randomness of it. It appealed to me, and it appealed to me in the way that it seemed easy to introduce people into role-playing with. So I decided I would get my brothers and my one brother's longtime girlfriend together, and we would play a little Gamma World game. And so they came with a little preloaded adventure, and I myself added a few bits, and I borrowed a little bit from the Flagons and Dragons guys when they played their session. So it started off with you roll randomly for your characters of what types of mutations / races they are. So my oldest brother became a reanimated humanoid bird, which we eventually figured out was a reanimated humanoid pigeon. My other brother was like the spirit form of a giant mushroom, and brother's girlfriend was a yeti with bits of spider also part of her, like. So, that right there made the game super interesting because, well, I don't know, a yeti with climbing walls and shooting spider silk out her butt is something special for any game. So it starts off with these guys already know each other. They're all scrappers with metal, and that's how they live through this post-apocalyptic, weird, multiple dimensions merging with each other world. And so they end up going to this town because you just need supplies and re-energize yourself here and there. So they end up going to the town. They read the town's bulletin. Weird things are going on in the woods with these robots that are attacking the town. They meet a guy named Bill who is selling meatlogs, which is the part I borrowed from the Flagons and Dragons guy, but we'll get back to Bill later. So they meet up with the towns, they talk around the town, they figure out that this robot nonsense is happening, coming out of the woods and almost attacking the town, but never quite making it. So they eventually, my brother's girlfriend, decide to go investigate the robots coming out of the woods. Also in Gamma World, this edition at least, you roll a couple times to find you get random junk. So both my brothers roll that they get pickups, so they have 2 pickups already at the start of the game, so travel is really easy for them, and it leads to a pretty funny thing that's never happened to me in a role-playing game. So they both get in their pickups, drive into the woods. The woods eventually get a little thick, so they have to get out and walk a bit of the ways. But then they find this building out in the middle of the woods, and there's some robots there. They just not robots, pig people. They take care of them pretty easily. And still the Dungeons and Dragons dice rollings and rules are still a little complicated for brand new beginners. It's not quite as easy as a D6 system or something like that, but it wasn't too bad. Game of Worlds, they dumbed down the rules and the rollings for a little bit, so it's a little easier for new people who've never done it. But they get in the woods, but then they just destroy these guys who didn't really want them to come closer to the building. The mushroom spirit uses a big not dumbbell, but the longer version that you would power lift if you were a weightlifter, but only one side of it has weights, so he uses it as a pretty heavy club mace type hammer thing. The pigeon uses a handgun mostly, but he also has a very long pole arm with a piece of metal welded to one end of it, and the Yeti just uses her claws and spider things and shoots spider silks at her rectum. But so they find then a road and go back and get their pickups, and then are able to drive straight into this building. And literally, I mean straight into this building. They decide, they see the doors to the front, and I give them the doors are there. They're just regular building doors. They don't look anything special. If they are locked, you could easily break through them. But then they decide, well, we'll just drive the pickups, or one of the pickups, straight through. So I let them do this, but man, their rolls were so good that I just let great adventure, great action happen. He goes right through the doors. He notices a couple more hanging around guards, so he does this donut, takes out all the guards, throwing them against the walls. And then I had to decide. I talked to them about damage rolls and that they have hit points, and they didn't quite get that because they were thinking, man, if I hit a guy with a car, he's probably not going to get back up and come after me, which I also agree, and which was the main reason I stopped playing Dungeons and Dragons and moved on to D6 systems, which don't have high hit points for your characters. So then I just said, forget it. I'm going to start house ruling everything, and the people he hit with his vehicle were done with. One was still alive, and we'll say he was very badly injured. They get out, they talk to him a little bit. He ends up dying, though. And so I described a little area. I described there's a little stairwell to go down deeper into the earth. But they decide, why do that? They take a bit of the stuff around and go back to the town. And I'm like, well, that's a little strange. They're not catching on the hook that, no, maybe you should go down the stairs. There'll be more down there for you to do. But whatever, they do their own thing. They drive back to the town, and the pigeon decides to go get meatlogs. So they go get the meatlogs. Maybe they got some before they went to where the woods were and the robots were coming out. So they go back to Bill's. And Bill isn't there to be found. They make their way around, look in the windows. They don't see anything, but they notice in the back room that there's a trap door. So they get into Bill's and go down the trap door and find Bill lying on the ground. And in this basement, there's a bunch of old hospital beds with bloods everywhere. And then in the corner is a kind of a chained zombie to the wall. Well, soon it's figured out that Bill is making meatlogs out of human flesh, and he happened to do this time he made it out of zombie flesh, so that's no good. Luckily, the only person who ate the meatlogs out of the PC group was the already zombified pigeon, so it didn't really affect him, bother him. He kind of liked the meat. So there's a couple bodies on the resting on the old Gerties, and they then rise. Zombie attack. The one on the wall tries to get the 3, but he's of course chained still on the wall, just moaning and chomping at the bit. Then they see Bill on the ground and instantly think that he might become a zombie, and that's exactly what I planned, that Bill was going to rise and then attack them also as a bit of a stronger zombie. But then they tie him up, so when Bill comes back from the dead, he's tied up and can't really do anything. So they're there now. They have Bill tied up, bring him back upstairs, bring him to the pickup, put him in the back. So now they have Bill as a reanimated corpse. And so I didn't expect this. So I make Bill a little bit of a smarter zombie. He can talk here and there, but not like the pigeon. And they look around Bill's shop more and realize that more than just the meat logs that the pigeon bought are missing. So apparently someone in the town has bought the meat logs, and possibly this town is going to be infected by a zombie plague. But once again, they decide to leave instead of go investigate. Earlier that day, they checked out the bulletin board, which said the things about Bill has meat logs and there's trouble in the woods. But there's also a flyer that discussed a place called Zombie Town, which is basically a mall that's run by intelligent zombies, and they offer things like practice your aim, but with unlimited amounts of zombies to shoot. Come to our only air-conditioned facility that we know of, and all kinds of special things. So they decide to go there. On the way there, they pass more zombies walking down the streets, which have big old signs stapled or nailed to them that also promoting Zombie Town. This is a very big new thing that happened in the little gamma world here. So they continue on their way and learn about, well, when they get there, they learn about, from the talking and intelligent zombies, that they want more zombies to just put in their cages so that people can just do whatever they want with the zombies. There's a zombie strip club which the pigeon goes to and has the best time of his life. He's never had anything like that, but eventually things happen. They have a real problem with staying on direction, and just because they have these vehicles, they're just getting around so quickly. But that's not the part that made it my favorite thing. At the end of that first session, I asked everybody if they had fun, and every one of them, completely sincere, without even a thought, said it was really fun, and it was much better than they ever would have expected, and that they want to do it again. And that made me extremely happy to have this moment with my brothers, and it was good, and it was the best session of role-playing I've ever had. That's my most recent role-playing experience.